Okay, today I'm going to kind of do a video tutorial on how to color black and white photos using PicMonkey. Okay, first we're going to go to touch up on the PicMonkey site. We're going to pick the photo that we're looking to color. And I'm going to pick kind of a simple one that won't take real long so that you can kind of get an idea of some of the features, but it won't take forever for me to actually show you how to do this. Okay, when I start out with photos, I like to use color swatches. Um, you actually need to go to somewhere else. You can go on Google and search for whatever type of color swatches you're looking for specific colors. You're going to start out with a butterfly, and the butterfly is going to say your own. It says overlays in your own right here. You're going to click on the your own, and you're going to go to wherever you've put your swatches. I've got mine actually on my desktop in a folder named swatches, and I've got several. Especially skin tones. Like I've got one here for African American skin tones because their skin tones are a little bit different, and I have several different color swatches for different things. For this particular one though, I'm going to use, if I can find it, this certain color swatch I have. It's a skin palette, and we're going to push open. You're going to adjust this to make it a little bigger so it's easier to get to, but you don't want to block any place that has skin tones because you're actually going to be using that for there. I also at this time I try to get out whatever palettes or swatches that I need. I'm also going to use a hair color palette for her. So she doesn't really have a lot in this picture, but I'm going to get a hair color palette, and I like this one right here. It gives me a variety of colors, different hair colors. So again, we don't want to use, we don't want to block our skin color. We don't want to block our hair color. And I'm going to move it down here so it's kind of out of the way, but we can still use it for what we need. Okay, so we're done with this. We're going to actually get ready to start coloring now. So we're going to go up to the touch up tool. It kind of looks like a lipstick. So we're going to go there. And it actually starts out up here. But if you scroll all the way down, there's something that says highlights here. And that's where we're going to go. So you're going to go to the highlights. And I like to adjust my brush size a little bit because it's usually way too big to start out with. And we're going to pick this eyedropper tool. And I personally am not really concerned with what color I pick when I start out. I usually try to pick a darker shade. So basically I can see anything that I miss. So I don't miss a lot of spaces. And we're going to zoom in to where her actual skin is because this is what we're going to be coloring. And I like to go ahead and get a little bigger brush, and I like to go ahead and cover the larger areas first, and then I'll use a smaller brush and actually come in and get some of the smaller areas and kind of fine tune it. We're going to go ahead and color this. I'm going to adjust where it's kind of got me viewed so I can get down here. Alright. Kind of got most of the larger areas covered. We're going to go ahead and adjust our brush down some. Like I said, I'm not using a lot of finesse on this. This is basically just to show you how the program works and some of the basic features that some of you may need help with, or just basically learning how to use PicMonkey. It's not a really hard program to use, but it does have some great features that allow some wonderful things with your tools. So I'll go ahead and color this in. And I don't worry too much about getting over on the lines into the dark spaces. You do have an eraser there. I do tend to go ahead and put on the lips because I miss around the lips quite a bit myself. So I'm going to go ahead and close in. Take this brush down a little bit longer. Right there. Go ahead and color some of these smaller spots. Color anything on her ear, neck. And I try to get really close to the hairline because it's usually where you present problems if you don't. Okay. So we've got just about all of her face. See a spot I missed. And it's usually a lot easier to see these spots if it's a darker color, like I said. Sometimes even a lighter color. Okay. So I've got her skin tone done, but I'm really not satisfied with that color. So what I'm going to do is, you can actually switch the color. at any time as long as you haven't pushed apply. So go ahead and go to your eyedropper. And what I like to do is I kind of like to go over each one, see which one I like that gives her more of a natural color. And I kind of like this one. And I'm actually going to take the fade up so it gives her more of a realistic skin tone, which she is in the light, so that's going to affect it some. So I'm going to go ahead and push apply. And I could actually go over it. I don't think she really needs it in this case, but any other time what I would do, especially depending on the picture, you could actually go over and do her skin tone some more and make it a little more brilliant. I tend to feel that makes it too unrealistic, so I'm going to actually take that back off and push cancel because I don't want to do that. What I'm going to do next is actually her hair color. And as you'll see, there's hair colors that are pre-picked here. If you pick them, they'll go ahead and pull them up. I like to use my own color palette, but it's really going to be your choice. And she looks like she's got some dark hair with, you know, maybe some gray in it. So I'm going to pick like a brown. I'm going to zoom in, just like we did with the skin tone. Adjust our box right here. And go up to her hair. I'm just going to start coloring this in. Like I said, I like to use the larger brushes for the larger areas. I can always kind of go in and do the fine work afterward. It just makes it a little faster. And you'll find that each picture can take you about an hour or more. Just depends on how detailed you want to be and how detailed the picture really is. So I'm going to take this brush down a little bit and go ahead and start filling in some of these other areas. And the wild hairs, those are really hard to get sometimes. I just like to put just, you know, one click over them. Nothing too thick, just to kind of show that they're there in some places. And then I'm going to go ahead and fill this in. And it also looks like she might have some hair down on her neck here. It's kind of falling down, so I'm just going to kind of push that a little bit. It's probably a little bit too much, but like I said, you can always kind of adjust the fade a little bit to suit the picture. It's really going to depend on the picture and how your vision is for that picture. And that looks like we've got most of the hair, so I'm going to zoom back out. We can take a look at actually the full effect of how that color looks. And I'm really not, like I said, I do this. I go over it. Let me just zoom back out some. Push this right here. Zoom back out some so I can get my color chart. And I'm going to go over the hair color and decide on which one I like. And I kind of really like this one here. It kind of shows the grays that are coming in. And it looks like she might have been a little darker haired. I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to push apply. And then I want to highlight those gray areas. To get a gray on here, you really need to go almost all the way up to the top. And if you'll see, it pulls this gray scale here. And I like to go about midway. Go back up. Go back to the hair. And I just kind of like to brush these gray areas to kind of highlight them a little bit. And most of the time, if you go over one with PicMonkey, you kind of just really need to do a soft overlay of all of it unless you're going to fade it in quite a bit. So otherwise, sometimes, you know, with the colors, you can tell. You need to kind of fade them in if you don't. So I just did a quick rush over all of that. And then I can kind of adjust and see if I adjust this scale here, I can make the white a little more white or a little darker so it kind of blends. And I think it looks good, just kind of blend it. I'm going to push apply. So we're now done with our skin palette. So we can just click on it and go over here and push delete because we don't need it anymore. We don't want that on our picture. And we're done with that one. So what we really have left is we need to do something with her lips, maybe give her some blush or something to give her some more color because nobody's all one solid color. It kind of makes them look dead. We also need to color her eyes and do something with her dress. So I'm going to go in, and I'm a purple person. I love purple. It's one of my favorite colors. And I'm going to go a little deep because we don't want anything real bright. This dress should probably be a deep color. They didn't have real bright colors, so we're just going to go over that with our brush. Kind of give it a nice full sweep. And I'm going to show you something. Let's say I made a mistake and drew off half her face there. You can just push the eraser button, and it's not going to take the skin tone off. It will just take what you put on last. Until you push apply, it will not take it. So, you know, you can always go back and fix these mistakes, and then you just unclick your eraser here. Take my brush down a little bit, and just kind of go over here. I know we can't see it real well, but we know it's there. And so her dress is done. If we wanted to change the color, we really don't even have to do that. You can just go up and, you know, you can flip through the colors and see, now I can see a place that I've missed. But you can flip through the colors and find one that you like. I personally care for the purple, so I'm going to stick with the purple. Make sure I get these edges. And you can really zoom in to get these edges to make sure they're done right. But like I said, I'm just doing this quick video. So I'm going to zoom back out, and I'm going to push apply. Take the fade up and push apply. And because it's a dress, and this is kind of a darker picture except where she's in the light, I'm going to give it a second coat to kind of help it stand out some. So we're going to take the fade up, and I'm just going to go over this dress again to kind of give it a little richer color. And there you go. And so now her dress is done. So we're going to zoom in, and we're going to look at her lips. Do something for her lips here. You can actually go up to the lip tool here. There's one that says lip tint. There's also one for spray tan. But like I said, I prefer to do the color palettes myself. There's all kinds of tools here that are really going to help you. The blush boost, the mascara, eyebrow pencil, all of these. And you'll find your own way on how you like to do things. I do most of my things through the highlight tool and use my own colors. So, I personally think I like my reds, but I like the deeper reds on the lips because it looks good to me. So I'm going to take my brush down, and I'm just going to start going over her lips. And I do have a hard time with lips sometimes, especially if they're not just real straight, but because hers are on the side, it kind of makes it a little easier. So I'm going to go up, because you know we all have that little curve in our lips. And I've got over, so go in with this and kind of clean that up some. And then you can adjust the fade. You can adjust, you know, several things here. To give it the tint that you want, you can even go and make it a different color. Sometimes I'll blend colors. Like I like that there, so I'm going to keep that. And then I may go up to the lip tint. Oh, wrong one. Eye tint. Okay, lip tint is right here. And it gives you a variety of shades. And it also gives you tone adjustments and intensity and hardness, which, you know, I like this shade here. So we're going to try it. We're going to take our brush size down some. And we're just going to, it's a little bright. That's why I'm saying. Some of these are bright in the lip tints, but you can change the tone and the intensity and some of that to kind of give it a different tone and shade, something a little more natural. If you take the tone down, it gives it a little more natural look here. Even the intensity will dull it out some. So we're like that. So I'm going to go ahead and push apply. Let's zoom back out and take a look at how she's looking. She's looking a lot better, getting that color on her. So we're going to go up, and we're going to really zoom into the eye. And because you can't really see a whole lot of her eyes, it's going to make it a little easier in some ways. There's an eye tint on here. I personally find that it does not look as realistic as me picking my own colors. So I usually go down and pick the highlights tool. I'll pick a green, and I'm kind of going to go to this deeper green because I can kind of fade it out and make it look a little more natural. Sometimes I'll put a little brown or yellow around the iris so that you know, because our eyes aren't really one color, but because we can't really see a whole lot of her eyes to do that, I'm just going to kind of fill in where I know her eyes should be and give her some color there. And I can even fade it out a little bit to make it a little lighter or even go more intense. And I think that looks good. So I'm going to push apply. And I'm going to go back and kind of look. And it's looking really good. We're almost done. What I like to do, so it was brought to my attention, I'd never, you know, when I first started using PicMonkey, I didn't know this, but somebody told me to go ahead and use your mascara tool over the picture because it kind of makes things more look 3D, or they kind of pop a little better. So I tend to do that with almost all my pictures now. It kind of brings out her face, the lines in her hair, and even her dress, if you'll notice, it kind of brings out that pattern in her dress. So it makes it just kind of stand out a little bit. And that looks good to me. And you can adjust the strength to make it a little less strong or more strong. You know, just however you think, you know, what you think looks good. And I'm going to push apply. And I don't like to keep a gray background, especially with her hair being gray. And so I'm going to kind of blend it in with her dress. I'm going to do, again, a deep purple. And do kind of a larger brush sides here because we're going to be doing the background. And I'm just going to kind of fill this in some around her. Be careful not to get her hair. And you probably have to take a finer toothbrush, you know, or tone brush, and kind of go into these smaller spaces as you're doing it, because it will turn her hair purple and things like that, and you just kind of want to avoid that. Just want to kind of blend to give it a little better color. And I see where I got her hair some. See how it kind of looks purple? Go in and just undo that. Just make sure that her hair's not been turned purple. That everything's kind of covered. And I'm going to go ahead and adjust it some so it's a little darker. Get off my eraser here. Get a little closer to this dress. And it looks good. So I'm going to push apply. And the next tool I'm going to show you is, again, another tool somebody showed me that I've really use a lot. And I'm going to go to the one that looks like a wand here. And it's called the Orton tool. And there's a lot of different tools here that you're just going to have to kind of play with and see. There's one that'll actually turn your pictures from color to black and white for you to color. And just different processes that, you know, you can play with and kind of figure out how they work. But so far, this is my favorite. It kind of smooths everything out. You can adjust the brightness and the tone to kind of see what you're doing, and you can even make it go more closer to what you had by just fading it out. So I'm going to turn the fade down some, and because I want it to kind of blend. I don't want it too dark, so I'm going to give it a little brightness, and I'm going to push apply. I just realized I forgot to put blush on her, so I'm going to go back to the touch-up tool, and I'm going to go up to the blush boost, and I'm going to pick a blush that I can blend in real well. So I'm going to go in and zoom in on her some. I'm going to take the brush size down a little bit. And I'm just going to give her some color. And don't worry about how it looks before you blend. Once you know, and you can even change which ones, you know, like that one actually looks a little better to me. And then you're going to kind of fade it in so that it looks more natural. And some people use a little bit more blush than I do. I'm still kind of wary with the blush, trying to get it just right. Mine sometimes it doesn't look right. It looks very unrealistic. But then that's your picture. And it looks very good. We're going to go in and we're going to push the crop. I've even messed with the auto adjust afterwards just to kind of see what they would do with it. But I don't generally like it. Anything you don't like, you can just go up here and push undo. We're going to crop it to get the white out of it. So we're going to crop this here and here. And you can actually extend it a little bit more if you want. Like this. And I always push scale photo. And there's your picture. So after you get done, you want to save it. I like to save mine to a higher image quality, which is what this Roger, Pierce, and Sean are. I push that. And I don't like to save mine in the same folder because it generally overwrites my black and whites, and I like to keep those in case I want to play with them later. So I usually either save them in a different folder or I will rename them here. But anyways, we're going to push save. I don't want to save that in with my swatches, so I'm actually going to save that in my colors folder, which is generally stuff that I've had colored. I'm just going to put a 1 at the end of this, or I'm going to put test at the end. Okay, and I'm going to push save. And now my photo is saved. I can go and do another photo if I like. But that is my tutorial for today on just the basics of how to use PicMonkey to color a black and white photo. I hope you enjoyed.